Welcome to my channel. I can't believe that the first month of autumn is already finished. And it means that I need to show you what I did in September, and maybe we will also talk about my future plans for November and October. Actually, it will be a little bit of cheating in this video because you probably know that in September part of the month I finally had my holidays, so I wasn't away from my coloring table, from my art supplies, from internet, and it was great. But I had prepared in advance some of the videos, some of pictures to post on my channel, so part of the pictures which I will show you in this video, actually I did them in the end of August. When I realized that I will be able to travel in September, of course I was crazy happy, I was in a vacation mood, and I selected appropriate pictures in my books. In the middle of the August I did this page with gnomes having their vacation on the seashore, and I decided that another picture from gnomes in neighborhood will be a good addition. So here I have this beautiful lady gnome. Maybe she's doing some dancing lessons or some yoga, I don't know, but I really love these bright flowers around. I used the same media as I used for the previous page. The only difference is that here for the sky I used acrylic paint, and here I did everything with Arteza pencils. Arteza are good on this paper. Such style, it doesn't require any complicating shading, layering. What is important is brightness and ability to cover paper. And that's where Arteza, they are really good. Also they have nice selection of greens, which is what is important for doing a lot of leaves, tropical flowers, and they are very bright, perfect for such pictures. I also used a couple of black widow pencils for the wooden statue, and I remember that I did it very quickly. Probably that was because I realized that I also will be able to have my holidays. Another picture with totally summer mood I did in the book by Adi Shaf, Kolorowanka or Cottages. I selected this summer scene with poppies. You know that I already mentioned it in several videos that poppies are a little bit difficult for me to color, and when I finally learned how to color them, how to do nice shading on these flowers, then I had difficulties to film poppies because my camera it refuses to show proper difference between all orange colors, orange, red, magenta, dark red colors. So in real life these poppies they look better comparing to what I can see on the screen. Here I mostly used polychromoses. I already mentioned that polychromoses are really good on this paper. I only added a couple of Prismacolors where I needed some pastel shades on the top of the mountains, here on the highlighted parts of the grass. Another very quick work, but I do love how Adi Shaf creates her beautiful cottages, especially those which are made from wood. I really enjoy coloring them. I'm sure that it's not my last project in this book. I still continue to practice coloring with alcohol-based markers, even if I still use them only for the backgrounds. And in Manic Botanic, where I mostly use them, I did two pictures. Sorry guys, I lost my bookmarks. Yeah, the first one is with sunflower. Again, I did it in the end of August, and there were a lot of sunflowers, so it was quite appropriate to select such a page. Background is made with couple of shades of blue alcohol-based markers, and the rest I did with Arteza, I think. I already managed to forget. But there is a video on my channel. Nothing complicated, and probably I wasn't right to select such colors. For this bird, maybe I had to use something slightly brighter, but I wanted to color those birds which are traditional for my area, and we have the sparrows and tits. I believe they are quite the most popular birds here, the most common. That's why I put them here on the sunflower. The second one, I'm not sure what I feel about this project. First, I thought that it could be a good idea to use similar colors for the background, for the sky in this very hot orange yellow colors, for the leaves and for the tree trunk, and to use quite similar colors for the beetles. I wanted to create effects that they are slightly masking among the leaves on the wood, but maybe they are too lost. When I realized that colors are too similar, I tried to add more black, and it helped me to save this picture a little bit, but maybe still I needed to use something else for the beetles. Anyway, it wasn't my favorite page in this book. I am not a huge fan of insects, even if these beetles, they are interesting to look at, so I simply will move to something more interesting in this book. I hope that at least one page in this book I will be doing each month. Another page with flowers I did in Floribunda. My second project in this book is this beautiful vase with sweet pea and with cornflowers and jasmine. I'm still a little bit nervous, a little bit afraid to start doing something more complicated with bigger variety of flowers in this book, so my second project, it's this relatively simple vase. As usual, I started from the leaves. Here we have at least two types of them, and I tried to do different shades of green. Then I did jasmine. I added maybe a little bit more of yellow color comparing to real jasmine, but I needed it for shading. The cornflower was the easiest to color. I really love how they look here. Then I wasn't sure which color to use for the sweet pea. There is a huge variety of color palettes on the sweet pea, and they all are beautiful. In the end, I decided to divide all the sweet pea flowers into two palettes. Some are more magenta pink, some are more violet, and in the end I think that it looks quite nice to have two color palettes here. Surprisingly, I have only one finished picture in Teresa Goodrich books, and probably it will be my last project for this year in country garden. I don't know, I can't say for sure, but I'm ready to move to the autumn pictures, to something in country charm or maybe home sweet home. And my last page with flowers was this garden terrace. A lot of green colors, so probably I used all green Prismacolor pencils from the set, trying to create slightly different shades on the leaves, and a lot of flowers. As usual, Posca pens are very helpful when I need to slightly modify flowers or to mask very thick black lines. Well, another enjoyable project, but as I said, I am ready to move to slightly different type of Teresa Goodrich pictures in her autumn books. When I tried to start doing fall pictures and when I was thinking about pumpkins, I remembered about Fairy Tales by Tomoko Tashiro, where I have illustration to Cinderella, and of course if we have Cinderella, then we have pumpkin. Let me put this aside. here. The book is challenging because I prefer to use on this paper harder types of pencils like polychromasis or artisan. It's definitely easier to use them here for the tiny details which we have here in the frame. In the beginning I was intimidated by these tiny flowers, tiny leaves, some swirls in the frame, but then I managed to color them relatively quickly, combining polychromasis and artisan and even black widow. I was happy that I colored relatively bright pumpkins. Here I was sure that I will do the frame on the right side immediately, but after I finished to color Cinderella and the godmother fairy, I realized that the background will be quite challenging. Probably the fairy godmother is my favorite part here. I really enjoyed applying all those pink, magenta, lilac, lavender colors. Artisan has good selection of such colors. But the background indeed was challenging. Watercolor doesn't work on this paper and it wouldn't provide me with such opaque and intense black which I wanted for the background. I had in mind this idea of a light halo around the magical wand and maybe some sparkles about, and for such effect I needed dark background. Acrylic paint, it was too thick for doing this background. I wasn't sure that I will be able to color around the godmother using this creamy paint. So in the end I used ink, Indian ink, a layer of Indian ink, then a layer of black pencil, then again Indian ink on top of it. So it wasn't very easy, but in the end I do love this effect. On top of this black background I used Prismacolor pencils, white, sky blue light, Copenhagen blue, and they created this blue halo. In the end areas where I had some stains, I masked with this bronze and golden sparkles. But such struggle with the paper, it definitely somehow somehow I totally lost my desire to do the right part of the spread immediately. Maybe I will wait a little bit. It's good that I have my video, so I will be able to remember which colors I used for the frame, because frames are identical. But after some time maybe I will do it. I just have to think which media to use here for this forest which we have on the background. When you can't use watercolor and when all the paint they behave not very well, you have to think which media to use. Maybe I will find some patience and I will do the whole page with pencils only, but it will be later. In September sometimes I had limited amount of time for coloring, so tiny projects they were perfect for me. I started this page with tiny cottages. In the beginning I had several ideas of what to do with them. First I wanted to unite all of them with some kind of path, so it will be travel. Then I was thinking about using similar colors in the lines, but in the end idea of seasons of the year, it's very traditional, but it always works. I decided to start from Christmas time. I added small details from myself, like this Christmas tree, these presents, garland over the entrance door and some wreaths attached to the door. Next, here I even managed to add Santa with present and his sleigh. He is ready to go into the chimney. And I even have a snowman. I know that everything is so tiny. It was difficult to draw, difficult to color. But in the end I was really happy with my idea. The next row, of course, was dedicated to spring, so I have gardener's cottage where I added some flowers around, some bulbs ready to be planted. The next one is apple blossom cottage. I added trees which are in bloom and flowers in front of the house. And the last one is wisteria cottage. Here we have 5 rows of houses, so of course the last 2 will be dedicated to summer and autumn, but what to do with the 5th? I decided that I simply will do some same cottages, and here I have cottage where I added the lighthouse and this tiny boat. Here I decided that I will have cafe, so I have this arch and roses on top of the arch. I tried to add tiny table and chairs around. And the last one is the school. I didn't know what to draw around, so I simply added these flags. I hope that in such way it looks more cheerful. After a short break, of course, I will continue to do fall and summer cottages. Next, I did couple of pictures in Nightfall by Maria Trolle. Can't say that I'm happy with the result. As usual, when you don't like the initial page, you can't color it properly. But I practiced a lot how to color daffodils. For the left side, I used water-based pencils, water-soluble pencils for the background. And to make this page a little bit more individual or a little bit more interesting to look at, I decided to add some daffodils from myself. So the yellow daffodils I draw. I also added at least 1 tulip to make the whole page more well balanced, and I added these tiny flowers here. I thought that for the bee it will be better to have flowers around. To mask black lines, I used a lot of acrylic paint, Posca pen, but still both daffodils here and here, they look a little bit flat, so I definitely need to practice more how to better color white flowers. Now we will move to the romantic country. Again, because of the limited time, I tried to select page where I can color small elements. I really enjoyed doing small elements here. So as my next project with small details, I selected these folk costumes. They reminded me about German Bavarian costumes. It was nice and easy to color them. As usual, I used Posca pen and Prismacolors, but in the end I decided that I want to create a vintage look of the paper, of the background, because the style of the page, it reminded me about old photos, and I wanted the edges, the corners of the page to be slightly aged. I decided to use one of the good watercolors made by White Nights. The color is Dune, and usually it provides a very good beige color, perfect for such effect. But because of the paper in this book, it absorbed pigment so quickly that it created ugly stains. I didn't have time to spread pigment more, to create more smooth gradient from darker to lighter colors. So now I don't have effect of the vintage old paper. Instead it has quite dirty or burnished look. But anyway, I'm glad that I did this page, because it's obviously not my first choice. I much more prefer landscapes or some interior pictures with cute castles or some nice rooms inside of the houses, but I decided that for the limited amount of time it will be a good project. But the second page, which I did in September, I love much more. I finally finished this spread. The left side I did a couple of months ago when I was thinking still about spring, and the right side already reminds me about fall season. I tried to use some similar colors to make them like parts of the spread to be pleasant to look at, but you can clearly see that here we have already some autumn trees. It was good to do them because to do all green trees it would be a little bit boring. From the very beginning, it was one of my favorite pictures in this book. I really think that it's cute that we have this sign, no rabbits, and we have two cute bunnies sitting here in front of the vegetable garden. It was fun to color the various types of vegetables, carrots, cabbages, cucumbers. I still don't know how to pronounce them correctly, but still, it was a pleasure to color them. Nothing special here technically, just Prismacolor pencils and a little bit of Posca pens for the flowers here on the foreground. Sometimes it's still not very easy to work on small details with Prismacolors on this paper or to cover paper thoroughly, but Posca pens, they help, Blender helps, and I think that I got used to this paper. Now it's time to show you my two final works, and they are my favorites among all the September works. The first one is in A Romantic Country Tales 2. The second tale for me is much more inspiring comparing to the first tale, and I managed to finish my market spread. A lot of time, a lot of efforts, a lot of thinking I put into this work. Somehow the left side, it was easier for me, even if it's more detailed and complicated. But when I did the right side, I needed to unite them somehow in one spread. I decided to use similar colors for the umbrella, for the canopy, to make this connection between yellow colors. Some details I added from myself, like these stones on the pavement on the street. I'm still not sure that it was good choice to use blue here for the flower pots, but at that moment I already used a lot of brown, yellow colors here and here, so probably blue was my only way to attract attention to the flowers. I enjoyed immensely doing all the small details, all those fruits, vegetables, so even if it was time consuming, it was relatively easy, and it definitely encouraged me to start something similar, very detailed in this book. I already selected for myself a couple of pictures with witches, so probably I will move from this spread to another project in a romantic country. I'm glad that even if they look like one picture, one spread, because I repeatedly used the same colors, still we have separate shops and they are not lost. We can see that we have different elements of this spread, so I'm glad that I did it, that I finished it, that I didn't postpone coloring this one, and that result is good. And finally, my favorite page for September I did in the Game of Thrones. After a quite successful return to this book, when in August I did Sansa, in September I decided that I will do my favorite page here, Portrait of Sir Loras Tyrell. I don't care much about this character in the book or in the film, but this picture, it was from the very beginning my favorite in the book. I was quite eager to color his armor. I always was interested in color such things, but I wasn't sure that I have enough skills. And now I'm glad that I waited that I didn't start to color this page immediately when I purchased it. Now I felt much more confident. I did a very light watercolor underpaint, just not for the sky and for the flags behind. I simply was too lazy to do the sky with pencils. Apart from this watercolor underpaint, everything else I did with polychromases. The easiest part for me was his armor. It was easy to decide where to put highlights, shadows, and probably the challenging part was flowers. They are beautiful, but we have big variety of them. Tulips, some pansies and other foxgloves probably. I didn't want to use any yellow colors because yellow we already have on this golden roses embroidery and a lot of yellow on the armor, so I didn't want to create other yellow areas on the page. In the end, I think that I managed to color it. I'm not sure that I did right work on his face, but as I said, I don't care much about character. I much more care about his armor and other things. Anyway, I'm proud of my works. I'm sure that I put all my knowledge, all my efforts, everything, all my skills into this page. And it definitely helped me to feel more confident to move to other projects. I think that I finished all simple designs in this book, and all next projects which I still have to color in this book, they are quite detailed and quite difficult to do, but now after a couple of successfully finished pictures, I think that I am more than ready to move to other pictures in this book. So September was really good for me. In the beginning of September I was absolutely tired. I was like a lemon without any juice left. But after my short holidays I had a very good time in Croatia. I'm glad that finally, after being fully vaccinated, I'm now was able to travel a little bit, and I think that I feel refreshed. I am glad that now I am ready to color more. I hope that I will be more productive in creating videos, and I am glad, I am very grateful for such September. I hope that your September also was good. I hope that weather is still good for you, because here we still have relatively good weather. Sometimes we have rains, but I still hope that couple of warm days we still have ahead of us. In a day or two I will post video about my coloring plans for October or November. I plan to start some of my newest books. Of course, I selected fall designs, autumn designs, I selected Halloween designs, so I hope that it will be interesting for you. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your constant support. Thank you for watching my videos during my absence. It really helped to support my channel, and I will see you very soon.